So the recent Nintendo Investors Q&A has been released to the public. Now this is the Japanese version, so obviously some of this stuff is being translated. There may be some mistranslations along the way, but I feel like most of these applications that we use to translate stuff are pretty decent. And of course, we are learning more stuff from Nintendo themselves. Some people are actually asking some hard-hitting questions about the future of the Nintendo Switch, and more importantly, what's on the horizon with the next generation of console, and President Furukawa actually spoke about these things. Of course, there was a bunch of stupid questions as well, but we're going to focus in on the questions that actually matter, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on them, because I feel like there might be some misinformation already floating around about some of these answers, so we're going to sort of nip those in the bud before it gets too widespread.
But first, here's a quick word from today's sponsor.
The Nixie Wizard is an all-in-one solution to all your Nintendo Switch controller needs. Whether you have a Nintendo Switch Standard model, a Nintendo Switch Lite, or a Nintendo Switch OLED, the Nixie Wizard provides the look and the feel of a GameCube controller for all your favorite Nintendo Switch games. The controller features a Hall sensor joystick, meaning that joystick drift is now a thing of the past. Interchangeable joystick rings to customize your controller. A turbo function can be played attached to your Nintendo Switch or wirelessly, along with even more features. Coming in a variety of different GameCube-inspired colorways, Smash Brothers fans will definitely want to check out this controller. Be sure to click the link in the description box down below to get your Nixie Wizard controller. Let me know in the comments which colorway you like the most, and a huge thank you to Nixie for sponsoring today's video. So one of the questions asked was about the launch time of the system, because of the fact that the Wii U, which was the successor to the Wii, was released about 6 years after the Wii was launched, and the Super Nintendo Entertainment System was released about 7 years after the NES, to which President Furukawa said the following. Yes, the Nintendo Switch has sold more than 120 million units in total. In the history of our games console business, the Switch has been the 7th generation of our console business. In the history of video game consoles, there has never been a case where we expected to sell 15 million hardware units and 180 million software titles in the 7th year, which is the fiscal year ending on March 31st, 2024. And we consider that we have entered uncharted territory. We believe that it will not be easy to sell hardware at the pace of the last few years. However, we believe that there is an opportunity to take advantage of the large number of units of software in the market. Tears of the Kingdom and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have sold over 10 million units in 3 days on the market, but none of our previous hardware has sold software at such a pace. In addition, we will continue to release new titles. In addition to continuing releasing new titles, we plan to distribute additional content for existing titles so that customers can enjoy them for a long time. So that's something that we've talked about quite a bit on this channel, is the timing of things. You know, this is the longest running Nintendo home platform, if you want to consider it a home platform, ever. This is the longest that it's ever been on the market as far as the dominant brand and the main focal point. So they are entering in uncharted territory. No, that doesn't mean Nathan Drake will be appearing on your Nintendo Switch, but you do have to look back at the law of diminishing returns and kind of, you know, how video game technology is always sort of growing. The Nintendo Switch wasn't exactly the newest and freshest system on the marketplace when it first came out. It was just the hybrid nature of the system made it very attractive. The graphical capabilities of the system weren't, you know, off the charts or anything like that, and you see so many handheld devices nowadays that simply trump it, at least in terms of performance. So it is interesting that they seem to at least be leading people to believe that, you know, there is going to be just more software coming out. You could question the software library lineup that we saw at the recent Nintendo Direct as to whether or not that's really instilling full confidence in you. Obviously, no sort of bigger budget titles. I mean, I think we can all agree that a 3D Mario game is much more strenuous to develop than a 2D Mario game, so this is why they went with the 2D Mario route, but just kind of an interesting answer, I thought, to that. But the other two questions, they were definitely more sort of in detail and sort of more in depth, and this is where some of the miscommunication comes along, I feel, and people are just kind of viewing things possibly in the wrong idea. So the question asked would be, it would be inconvenient if software cannot be transferred from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch, as was the case when we switched from Wii U to the Nintendo Switch. To which President Furukawa said the following. We are always considering various aspects of future hardware specifications. We are always considering the specifications of future hardware, but I would like to refrain from making any specific comment on future hardware at this time. The Nintendo Switch software is sold in a variety of formats, including packaged software, for which customers purchase a game card at a store, downloadable software, and download-only software. Many customers are playing downloadable software and download-only software on the Nintendo Switch, and the percentage of digital sales is increasing compared to previous consoles. We will continue to propose unique game experiences using the integrated hardware and software of a dedicated game console, and we look forward to your continued support. So this was a perfect place to say, we're probably going to do backwards compatibility with the system, but you notice that they just sort of dodged the question. President Furukawa dodged the question, and it's kind of brought up a little bit more as we get into this video, but that to me, I don't know, that's kind of a bit of a red flag. Like, I get it, you're not wanting to talk about the actual specifications of the system, what sort of system it's going to be. Is it going to be a Nintendo Switch 2, or is it going to be a brand new concept? Because you like to use that word unique, but you didn't do anything to sort of quell any sort of fears that backwards compatibility might not be a thing. Because you got to remember, backwards compatibility is kind of contingent on the software medium that they decide to use with this. If they use a different cartridge, I don't think you're going to see backwards compatibility, because your physical collection of games will be just sort of not able to be played on the new system, but digital only would be allowed to be played. Like, it would be very strange for me if they just did something like that, because of the fact that you're alienating a large portion of your fan base who purchased the games physically, who wanted the games physically. So I find that a little bit perplexing. Like, I get it. On one hand, maybe I'm just looking too deep into it. On one hand, you're not wanting to talk about too much of the future stuff. Okay, whatever. But the fact that you just wouldn't confirm that backwards compatibility was at least what you were planning to do, I don't know. That's kind of a bit of a red flag. But then there's people that say, well, they did confirm backwards compatibility, RGT. You're stupid. And you need to keep reading on in order to get that sort of information. So let's read on. As for the transition to the next generation of consoles, President Furukawa says, in the past, hardware was the only way for us to connect with our customers, and we had to rebuild relationships with our customers when hardware became new. On the other hand, with the Nintendo Switch, we are now able to connect directly with various customers through Nintendo Account. Nintendo accounts have been created by many people around the world, including those from mobile apps as well as dedicated game consoles, and the number of accounts has reached over 290 million. We are committed to ensuring a successful transition from Nintendo Switch to the next generation of consoles by leveraging Nintendo accounts. So this is where the miscommunication happens, because you have people saying, well, right there they say that your Nintendo account's going to transfer over, so all your games are going to transfer over. No. That's not the case. Read back what we just said. People are making accounts via mobile devices. Are your mobile games that you got for the Nintendo themed mobile games, are those going to translate over to the next system? No, because they're dedicated mobile games. All this means is that your Nintendo account that has your information on it, that has your friends list on it, that will transfer over. That doesn't necessarily mean that the software that you have purchased right now on your Nintendo Switch account will automatically transfer over. That doesn't mean that the software that you play right now on your standard Nintendo Switch system will be applicable and playable on the new platform. It's simply talking about the account. There's 290 million accounts out there. There's not 290 million Nintendo Switch units out there. Obviously, some people are signing up with things like mobile devices to play Mario Kart Tour and Super Mario Run and crap like that. That's not meaning and not saying that backwards compatibility is a foregone thing. So really, what did we learn with this whole Q&A thing about the future? I mean, the smooth transition. That's the one thing that they said. We want a smooth transition from the Switch to whatever the next thing is. But what is the next thing? Does the next thing have backwards compatibility? Will I be able to play my current games that I have now on this next generation of system? They won't commit to an answer. And that, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion like a lot of people do. It makes sense, trust me, and I want there to be backwards compatibility, but none of this screams to me that backwards compatibility is coming. If anything, this kind of makes me think, well, maybe they're not going to do backwards compatibility. When you look at something like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, would you really want to, do backwards compatibility when you see how successful that game is? When you could re-release it with all the additional DLC on it? All the new characters, all the waves, $60 on the brand new system. I'm just saying, if I'm a businessman, president for a car, everyone says he's a businessman, he's not a gamer. If I'm a businessman, I'm selling you that game for a third time. And you know what? People will buy it. I'm just saying. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below, though. Do you think that this is the move? Do you think that this does mean that there is backwards compatibility 100% guaranteed on the Switch for the next system? Because it doesn't say that, and you're wrong. I'm trying to help you, trying to be nice, and I'm trying to correct you before the flood of videos comes out with all this misinformation and people get excited, and then when things change they get mad at the person. It's like, well, if you would have listened to RGT in the first place, you would have gotten the real deal. You would have gotten the real information. And as always, guys, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Remember, not a Nintendo YouTuber, you son of a bitch. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.